My name is Victoria. I'm 28, and I can still recall the exact scent of my grandmother's home. Lavender soap mixed with aged wood. It was the kind of smell that made everything feel safe, even when the rest of the world didn't. My grandmother, Eleanor, was 79, sharp, disciplined, and incredibly careful with money. She had spent most of her life working as a seamstress, quietly putting aside every dollar she could. She never indulged in luxuries. She drove her old 2003 Honda long past its prime, clipped coupons every Sunday, and lived simply. Saving wasn't just a habit for her, it was part of who she was. So when I stopped by her house during a routine visit 2 springs ago and happened to glance at a bank statement sitting on her kitchen counter, I felt something shift inside me. The balance read $12,000. That number didn't make sense. I knew she had saved well over $300,000 over the years. My stomach dropped instantly. I didn't react right away. I forced myself to stay calm, convincing myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe she moved the money. Maybe she opened another account. I smiled, poured her tea, kept my voice steady, but beneath the table, my hands were trembling. That evening, I kissed her goodbye and drove home in silence, my jaw clenched the entire way. As soon as I got inside my apartment, I sat on the bathroom floor and stayed there for 20 minutes, trying to process what I had seen. Then I started digging. I'm not a financial expert, but I'm organized and detail-oriented. Over the next 3 weeks, I carefully gathered every piece of information I could find. Old bank statements Eleanor had shown me, documents from the green binder she trusted me with, notes from conversations I remembered. Piece by piece, I started putting everything together. What I uncovered made my blood run cold. Over the course of 4 years, nearly $340,000 had been drained from my grandmother's accounts. The money disappeared through wire transfers, manipulated joint accounts, and forged signatures, and every single trail pointed in one direction: my parents. They had convinced Eleanor, during moments when she trusted them most, to add my mother to her accounts under the excuse of helping manage things. But instead of helping, they used that access to fund my younger sister Danielle's lifestyle. Her failing boutique business, her apartment in Miami, a luxury SUV, 2 international trips, even a brand new kitchen renovation in a condo she couldn't afford. Danielle had always been the favorite. That was never hidden. Growing up, I was the independent one, the quiet, responsible one. Danielle was the one who always got rescued. But this wasn't rescuing. This was stealing from a 79-year-old who trusted her own daughter with everything. I knew if I confronted them outright, they'd shut me down like they always had, twist the story, make me seem jealous, dramatic, difficult. So I didn't confront them. I stayed silent. I kept visiting Grandma like nothing had changed. I showed up to Sunday dinners, smiled across the table at my mother, nodded along as she talked about Danielle's latest plans. I listened to my father laugh and pour wine, and the entire time I was documenting everything. I had done my research. In my state, single-party consent recordings were legal, so I recorded every phone call where my parents mentioned money or Eleanor's accounts, every casual remark my mother made about borrowing from Grandma. I captured it all. Week by week, the evidence grew. I wasn't planning to argue with them. I was going to let their own words expose them. When I found out they were all flying to Hawaii for Danielle's engagement, I booked a ticket too. It was a 14-hour flight. I knew they'd try to block me from the wedding. At the hotel, my father looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're not stepping into that church." I smiled calmly. "I know," I said. "I'm not here for the wedding." The expression on his face stayed with me the entire flight home. He thought I came to make a scene, to beg for attention like I used to as a child. He didn't realize I had spent 14 months becoming someone else entirely, patient, focused, and done being overlooked. I didn't go to Hawaii to disrupt anything. I went so they would see me one last time before everything changed. As soon as I got back home, I made the call. For 6 weeks prior, I had been working with an attorney who specialized in elder financial abuse. She had reviewed everything: the statements, transaction records, forged documents, and most importantly, 17 recorded phone calls where my mother openly talked about moving money as if it were nothing. My attorney told me the recordings alone were enough to trigger a serious investigation. She had a contact within the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit, and within 48 hours, the case was officially referred. I handed over everything, every document, every recording, every note with dates and details. When I walked out of that office, I felt empty, but certain. The hardest part was keeping it from Eleanor. I continued visiting her weekly, sitting with her as she spoke warmly about my mother, believing she was just trying to help. Her mind was still sharp, but her trust was unwavering, and that trust was used against her. I held her hand, told her she was loved, and stayed quiet. I couldn't risk her unknowingly alerting my parents before the investigation was complete. Carrying that secret was the heaviest burden I've ever known. 3 months after I made that call, federal agents showed up at my parents' house on a Tuesday morning. 20 minutes later, my mother called me screaming. She said I ruined the family, accused me of being jealous of Danielle, said everything she always said to make me feel like the problem. I let her speak. I didn't interrupt. When she finally stopped, I calmly told her I hoped she and my father had a good lawyer, and then I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. Both of my parents were formally charged with elder financial exploitation and wire fraud. Danielle, after being questioned, was found to have knowingly accepted money she understood wasn't rightfully hers. The case is still ongoing, but efforts to recover Eleanor's assets have already begun. When I finally told Eleanor the truth, she sat in silence for a long time. Then she took my hands and admitted she had felt something was wrong, but couldn't bring herself to believe it. We both cried. We sat in her lavender-scented kitchen for 2 hours, saying very little after that. A week after the charges became public, my mother sent me a message. Just 4 words. "What did you do in Hawaii?" I read it once, placed my phone face down, and went back to cooking dinner. She still doesn't understand. Hawaii was never the turning point. The real moment had been building quietly for 14 months, one recorded conversation at a time. I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I'm sharing it because financial abuse of the elderly happens every day, often within families, and the people closest to the victim are often the ones who stay silent. I didn't stay silent. Eleanor deserved someone who would stand up for her. If this story resonated with you, if it made you feel seen or gave you the strength to face something in your own life, make sure to subscribe. Every subscriber reminds me that these stories matter, that real voices deserve to be heard. Turn on notifications and stay with me. There's more to come.